You can see how easy it is to set up the Next.js application. But this is not the way to create a Next.js app. The easiest way to get started with Next.js is by using create next app command. This CLI tool enables you to quickly start building a new Next.js application. So if you want to create a new Next.js application, you have to open your terminal, and I'm going to open the tutorial empty folder inside this terminal, you can see, and then I'm going to execute a command called npx create next app. And then I'm going to specify here the latest version. So I'm going to specify here at latest, and then I'm going to specify the name for this application. I'm going to choose the name for this application, next app. If you want, you can choose any name for this application. That's upon you. So I'm going to press enter to create a new Next.js application. Here, to create the Next.js app, you need to install this create next app in your local system. So just press Y for OK and press enter. This is going to create a new folder. It will take less than a minute to create this complete application. If I open the next app, you can see we have a bunch of folder and files here inside this next application. Let me explain one by one. But before that, let me first enter into my project directory and execute a command called npm run dev. So I'm going to say here cd next app, and then I'm going to execute a command called npm run dev. Don't worry, you already have this command in the package.json. You can see. So I'm going to just say npm run dev. When I press enter, this is going to start the Next.js application, and here you can see you have your application on the localhost 3000. This command is going to start the Next.js development server, and you're going to have your application on the localhost 3000. Don't worry, you can change this viewport according to your need. If you open the localhost 3000, you can see this is a starter template page which shows some helpful information about Next.js. Now let's make some changes inside the code. You can see this is a complete Next.js project. You have different folders here. Let me explain each folder one by one. First, you have a .next folder. Next build is a command which builds the project, which gives you the .next folder containing all the build content, which actually need to be deployed on the server. So if you're deploying your next application on the server, this folder is useful. Then we have here node modules folder. Inside these node modules, you have all the dependencies. Just after that, you have here pages folder. Inside these pages, you have API and 2 files. All the routes of your Next.js application will be placed inside this directory. For each route, you will have a separate file. For example, let's suppose you have here about.js file inside these pages. And then if you type about.js in the URL, you will get that file inside your browser. Don't worry, we'll look at that later in this course. The default file is used in this project is index.js. So if you open localhost 3000, you will have this default file which is index.js. Just like that, inside these pages, you have API folder. This folder contains all the code we need to access the API of our application. If you're working with backend, this folder is completely useful. Just out of that, we have here app.js file. Later we'll look at more about this file. Just for now, just leave this file as it is and move to the next folder, which is public. Next.js use this folder to statically serve files, just like robot.txt or favicon.ico. In this folder, we can add all the images or the asset of the project. Just for that, we have the styles folder. The style directory is an addition to the SCSS file. I like to place all my global style like variables or utilities in these directories. So you can see you have here 2 files, globals.css and home module.css. We will look at how you can use these files later. Just after that, you have here a file called eslint.js. ESLint is commonly used for linting modern web application. This file is useful for linting your project. Just after that, we have .ignore file, which is the git ignore file to ignore this node modules folder. And then we have next.config.js file, which is the configuration file of Next.js. Then we have package lock and package.json file, which is the node files. And then at the end, we have readme.md file, which is the git readme file. Now let's make some changes inside the index.js. And let me make some changes here. instead of welcome to Next.js, if I say learn Next.js, when I save the changes, you can see that will update this file and you will get the result in the browser. You can see inside this file, you have the style sheet as well. home.module.css. The CSS is used as a module, and using this style, Next.js apply the style sheet just like object and properties. The class name is equal to styles.container. Now the container is a class name in this module file. If I open this file, if I open the home.module.css, then we have a class called container, and the Next.js is used that container as a object property. And this is how you can easily specify styling in Next.js. Later, we'll understand how you can style the Next.js component, but first, let me explain how you can use these pages in the Next.js application.